Well, it's really good to be back with you again. I've been so enthusiastic about all the responses I've gotten from previous videos. I'm Dr. Buck Weaver. I'm a neuropsychologist. I direct the Weaver Center in Wayland, Massachusetts. You can always check on our website, www.weavercenter.org. And one of the things that people have sent is a lot of suggestions about what kinds of things would be nice to address in the future. So if you write me an email at rweaver@weavercenter.org, please put in the subject line questions for videos, because I love that. It's the best way to organize myself is to get questions from anyone out there. Thank you. So today, because of this being so close to the beginning of school, I've gotten a lot of questions about how best to prepare for the school year for my child. And there's a very straightforward answer to this. And we have seen in all of our work here at the Weaver Center over the last 30 years that those kids that are prepared before school are have the best or chance of the best years they can have. Right? So what do kids need to know, and what can parents do or teachers do that would be most helpful for kids? Well, the very first thing is to get out the reports, the educational plans, or the 504 accommodation plans, whatever materials that you have, right? You might want to put me on pause and get out things that, again, no matter whether your child's in elementary, middle, high school, college, or even graduate school, almost every plan has accommodations on it. And the accommodations are very, very critical for a good year. It's very important that everyone that's working with children or young adults, that they know what accommodations that they have that will allow them to demonstrate, and this is a good way to describe it to kids, because sometimes kids say, oh, it's not fair, or, it's not like anybody else, and so on and so forth. But the best thing to describe it as, these are tools that allow you to show anybody, teachers or coaches or us, these are tools that you can use that will allow you to be able to demonstrate what you've learned and the efforts that you put in so much better than if you're restricted by things that don't fit you very well. So accommodations are really, really very, very important. And it's also really important to have kids adjust to that. And the best way is by parent or teachers or other family members. We always encourage, when we're doing self-advocacy programs, to work with uncles or neighbors, or anybody could be very helpful with this. But what you want to do is you want to get your list of accommodations. In a special education plan, on the second or third page, you'll see a list of accommodations. On the 504 plans, you'll see a list of accommodations. And for those of you that have neither, it's almost a good idea to ask them what they might be seeing others have accommodations for, and would any of those work for them, right? So once you get that list, and accommodations are very, very many, all right? Certainly the common ones are extended times or preferential seating if you have attentional issues. Sometimes the best seating isn't in the front or it isn't by the window. So a lot of these things need a bit of discussion with your child or your young adult. But extra time, having extra notes, having notes before the class, being able to be in a quiet environment, having instructions read to you. There's if anyone would like to write me an email, I'd be happy to send you a list of a lot of accommodations that you might want to explore with your child or your student. So once you have the list, it's really important to go over that list with your child or your young adult, your college student or your graduate student, those that have accommodations. The adult disabilities allows accommodations all the way through adulthood and into work, of course. So you want to be able to have a discussion about each one of those items. And if there's something that you don't understand, because a lot of them are written in, in educational language, if you don't understand, just put a check mark, because you can ask your teacher or your special education person or the principal. There's a lot of people that you could ask that will either answer those questions for you in language that's would be comfortable for you and also for your child. And one of the things we say about advocating, whether it's for you and your child or for kids, is that people like to answer questions. People like to be helpful. So it's not as big a risk to advocate for yourself and things that you don't understand, to make sure that you've got a good model for your kids, and that they'll, later in this conversation, I'll be talking a little bit about how to help them advocate themselves. So then, and some of the accommodations might be from plans 2 or 3 years ago, so they might not even be appropriate for your youngster or oldster, right? But once you get them into a form that's very understandable, and you have 1 or 2 words that represent that accommodation, so it's like a shorthand, right? And then you would want to make sure that your kids know these things automatically. What's on your plan? Well, I got preferential seating. I don't have to write because they allow me to use voice to print or talk to a professor after I've written an exam, or a teacher. I need to be in a quiet environment. I need extra time in a quiet environment. I need to have the instructions read to me so that I don't not make mistakes or careless errors. That's not what they are. They're inattentive errors, right? To make sure, especially in detail classes like math and science and so forth. And also, it's very important to have accommodations to make sure that grades are not lessened for things that are central to attention or organization or other issues that are part of your learning challenge. Right? So then, once you have a list, once your child or young adult knows them, right, it's very nice to just plain practice. Have some role-playing time. You be a teacher, they be a teacher. You talk a little bit about your accommodations. They can read their accommodations right from their notes on their accommodations, and they should have many copies of those notes so that they can give them to any teachers that they have or any professors that they have, to make sure that the people that are teaching them are very familiar with things that are very important and legally appropriate for accommodations for the students. And then in the first week or two, I know that there's so much going on that it's maybe not even possible given the stresses. But it sure is important to set up a meeting with your team, hopefully within the first 4 or 6 weeks, just to get some feedback and to make sure that everybody has a copy and so on and so forth. It's really nice if your child, again, no matter what age, can deliver a copy of their accommodations, and then to the teachers, have a little discussion about it. And anyone and everyone that we see that does this has a remarkably good year. If you run into any difficulties or are not sure about something, again, please don't hesitate to send me an email. So to have the best start of the new year, be prepared. Usually doesn't take too long, but it's very important. And I know there's a lot of things going on, but I hope that this is one of them. And sometimes kids have said, no, I'm not doing any school. I don't want to do any school. Well, maybe you could find out something that they would like to earn for their extra effort, because this is so important. And if they can get it so that it's almost automatic, and you can get it so it's almost automatic, you will be surprised at the difference in the kind of year that you all will have. All right. So again, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of topics. I got a whole bunch of them about adults, strategies, and problems with video games, and even nicotine problems, motivational techniques, parent roles. They're all coming up. So I hope this has been helpful. Please be in touch. Thank you so much. I so enjoy helping. And I've very much enjoyed the comments that people have said about how helpful these videos are. Thanks so much. Be well.